Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Alicia Johnson, and I'm the creator of the 1212 community. And so, this is where you have landed. This is where you are at this moment. So, I want to thank all of you who are continuing to follow this work that we are moving through as it relates to forgiveness. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. So, this is our little corner of the world where we spend time learning how to recalibrate our lives 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And one of the tools that we use to move ourselves through this process is the power of the journal. So, this is the portion of the work that you have entered into. So, thank you so much for joining us. And we are continuing on with this journey of forgiveness, and we are now at day 18. But don't let that deter you because all of the previous days are archived so you can start at your leisure and move through the process at your own pace. So, this forgiveness work is available to everyone. Share it, give it as a gift, just get it out there. People need to forgive so that they can heal and rise higher. So that is the most important part of the work that we do, is that everyone does what they need to do in order to adjust and recreate and recalibrate their lives in accordance to the changes that heaven requires of each and every one of us individually. So today we are now at day 18. And so today we are discussing forgiving your bad habits or forgiving our bad habits. Assignment: reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. Make a list of every habit in your life that is bad for you. We all have them. To what degree they affect you is very personal. What may be bad for you may not be so detrimental to another. Why? Knowing what habits are impeding your growth will free you from following the world and attempting to heal areas of your life that need to be addressed. Benefit: knowing your own personal bad habits allows heaven the opportunity to work with you at an entirely different level. Surrendering your bad habits to heaven is the most powerful process you'll ever undertake. Heaven knows exactly what you require. Day 18: forgiving your bad habits. So, tonight, just like all of the other nights, this is your work, this is your responsibility. No one else can do this for you. This is why it is so important that you understand the truth of who you are and who God has created you to be so that you can move through this process as powerfully as possible. Bad habits, what are they? Bad habits are habits that are preventing you from moving ahead. Bad habits are habits that are keeping you stuck. Bad habits are habits that are keeping you on the hamster wheel. So these are habits that are specifically keeping you back. And this was very interesting for me because when God started to deal with me on this, I had to really begin to realize that this part of the process was a very personal journey. This is so personal. This is not, you can't take anybody on this journey with you. You can't pinpoint someone else's habits and say, well, at least I don't have that habit, or at least I don't do this, or I don't do that. People can do the same identical, if you will, thing, and it could be damaging and destroying for someone, and it could work out in someone else's favor. So this is the example that I use. So one of the I'll never forget one of my, this was back in the day when I used to waitress. And so this was during the time when you could smoke in restaurants. Like you could literally like just smoke. It was crazy. Like that secondhand smoke was insane because I'm not a smoker. So I'm getting smoke from everybody. And that was when my hair was longer. I would wear it in a bun and I would take my hair out at night and my hair would just smell like smoke. I had to wash my hair like, oh, it was just awful. But there was one waitress there, and She literally, like, smoked like a chimney, and, her boyfriend at the time was trying to get her to stop smoking because he's like, "That's gonna kill you. That's just not good for you." It was one of her, things that she did, and so she went and she was like, "Actually, my doctor said that I have the lungs of, like, a 25-year-old." So she was like, "The smoking is not my problem." Mike's grandfather, he died when he was like a great-grandfather, not grandfather. His great-grandfather died, I think great-granddaddy was like 103 years old, and he would smoke. He didn't have like the best diet. He didn't have all of those things, but yet and still he lived to be 103 years old. So all that to say is that what is good for one person may not be bad or may not be good for someone else. So this is why it is your responsibility to really sit and to hone in the things that are hindering you. And when God began to work with me on my bad habits, the bad habits that surfaced for me in comparison, okay, if I wanted to sit and compare my bad habits like one to another, then I could say, well, my habits aren't that bad. But in the grand scheme of things, my habits were preventing me from advancing. One of the bad habits I had, and this is one thing that I constantly teach on, and I teach on it because it's something that really changed my life, and it is a habit that I had to overcome. And it was a habit of quitting things. It was a habit of just giving up when I couldn't see all of the pieces. It was an ongoing theme in my life. And when God began to show me this, God began to show me that I was actually my biggest enemy. That one habit was destroying me with relationships, with my career, with everything. And so that was one of the habits that I had to really get under control. But when you start to identify your bad habits, you also have to start to identify the reason you have held on to these habits and how these habits have served you up up to the point where you want to change. So my bad habit of quitting everything was almost like my Hail Mary move. Like whenever I didn't want to do something or it was my get out of jail free card. I'll just quit. I just won't do it anymore. I'll just stop. And so that became my default setting. But that began to also be my biggest downfall because all of these false starts were keeping me in a fixed location. So when I made a promise to God that I wanted to change all of the areas of my life, God began to help me to understand that the way that I was doing things and the way that I was being supported in doing things, it had to change. The relationships that I had to change. Everything in my environment that was supporting that quitting mentality had to change. It was my friendships also that had to change because my friends were also quitters as well. They would quit too. So if you are around a bunch of quitters and you are habitual quitters, then your quitter friends are going to support you when you want to quit. So I was constantly I'm not going to do this anymore. That girl, I understand if it ain't working for you, then you just need to drop it. Like you just need to move on and just find something different. So I was supported in that dysfunction. But that habit, when God helped me to look at what it was doing in my life and in the lives of the people that I was surrounded by, God was like, none of y'all are going to move ahead. So what are you going to do? And so we have to learn how to renew our minds and to recondition our ways of thinking. So that was just one habit that God had, I guess, brought to the forefront for me. So your habits are going to be totally different because I don't know what your habits are. That's your business. That's between you and God. Another habit that I had was always like looking to other people for help. Okay. And help is not a bad thing, but help when it becomes a crutch can be debilitating. And so I would do just enough to get me to a certain place. And when I would get to that point where I felt like I would have to push myself a little harder, maybe learn a little more, research a little deeper, go a little further, help. Can you help me with this? Can you show me this? Can you show me that? And God was like, that's a very bad habit that you have. Because if you do not learn how to go deeper for yourself, you will never acquire the wisdom that you need because you're constantly reaching outside of yourself for the answer. That was a big one. Once I started to break that habit, that's when everything started to open up as it relates to this work. Because God started to pull me away from all of the things that I was using as a crutch. That was my coworkers, it was people at church, it was family members, whatever situation it was. I was constantly looking to other people. And the biggest change that heaven, this is why you have to pay attention to the assignments that heaven gives you. You have to pay attention to the instructions that heaven gives you because heaven knows the best route for you to take. One of the things that God did for me was the year that God was like, stop everything. Stop reading. Stop. Because I would read everything. I was in church every time the door opened. I was I was just consuming more and more and more and more and more information. And it had become a habit. Gathering information had become a habit. So that's another habit that God had me to break. Just gathering information for the sake of information. This is why I constantly teach, and this is what God showed me during that period. God was like, why are you gathering all of this information? And for what? Information without revelation is useless. When God showed me that one, I was like, whoa. Information with revelation without application is a special kind of stupid. God was like, you have all of this information. You're doing all what are you doing it for? This has become a habit. It was habitual. I'll be sitting on the bus, sitting on the train. I see somebody, they're all engrossed in a book. What are you reading? The title looked good. Oh, okay, let me write that down. I'm gonna get that book. What are you reading? Oh, okay, let me go. God's like, don't get another book. Don't listen to another person. Don't do another thing until you work with what you have. This is why this work that we do in this community is so near and dear to my heart because I see so many people doing the same thing that I was doing. Wasting time, wasting money, wasting everything, trying to make significant changes in your life, and you're still suffering at the end. I have paid so much money for programs and for coaching and for all of these different things for people to just give me more information. And I had no idea how to use the information. This is why the tools that we have in this community, the work that we do in this community, you can start using it immediately and start to reap the benefits of the work. See, the world has duped us into believing that we consistently have to go outside of ourselves for everything. And this was one thing that really bothered me. And that was another habit, a bad habit that I had, was putting everyone else on a pedestal. Everyone. It didn't matter what scenario I was in. My habit was always to put myself a little less than. But that's over now. Okay, so that's over. I don't do that anymore. That habit is gone. But that used to be a really bad habit. Oh, I'm they're much. Oh my gosh, they're so much smarter than me. Oh, they're so much more organized than me. They're so much more this than me. There's so much more that than me. As long as I or anyone else has breath in their body, we are all here for a specific reason, and your assignment is no greater than or less than mine. I don't care what your title is. I don't care who you network with. I don't care what your family name is. I'm here, you here. God has assigned us to be here at this same time. So let's go for it. I am not shrinking anymore for anything. And this is the beauty of allowing heaven to identify your bad habits. Not what the world says is a bad habit. Like the world will let you know, like the canned bad habits, the addictions, like alcoholism, sex addiction, addicted to gambling. Those are the big ticket items, okay? And a lot of people dismiss themselves from having bad habits if they don't fall into any of those dangerous categories. Complaining. Complaining can be a bad habit. Is your go-to move every time something happens, you always have a complaint? You ordered a salad, a steak, and a baked potato. They bring the food out. It looks delicious. Those tomatoes aren't as fresh as I thought they would be. Are you kidding me? Sir, ma'am, what would you like to drink? I like the water. I like water with ice. The water comes. The water's just too wet. The water's too wet. The salt is too salty. That is when complaining has become a bad habit. I used to work with a lady that I went to lunch with her a few times when I was first like getting to know her. And after those first few times, see, I enjoy food too much. And I have waitressed, okay? And I have worked in the restaurant industry and you want to be nice. Just, just this is a sidebar. You want to be nice to your servers. You wanna be nice to those people that are handling your food, people that are handling your healthcare, people that are handling very personal and intimate things that are tied to what you need. So I would go to dinner or, lunch with her because we worked together. And after about 2 or 3 trips, I was like, "Never again, There was never a time that we would be at lunch where she didn't complain about something. This bread is stale. This lettuce is wilted. This coffee isn't strong enough. Oh my gosh. But then when I started to look deeper into her life, that lady was one, it was just her and her dog at home by herself. Her daughter, she had a daughter that lived there with her that wasn't even speaking to her, her sister, all of her relationships were troubled. because she was habitually complaining about everything. Everything was not that bad. Another habit, taking on too much responsibility. Some people have that habit, they want to do everything. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Let me help. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Doing everything and not accomplishing anything substantial for your life because you're so busy helping everyone else that at the end, if your habit is keeping you depleted, then what's the point of it? Then there are people that have the habit that don't want to take on any responsibility. Everything is somebody else's responsibility. Are you kidding me? These are your teeth in your mouth. Okay, you need to the dentist just messed my mouth up. Are you kidding me? These drivers, people can't drive, just mess my car up. Seriously? Not taking responsibility for anything. I don't know why these bill collectors keep calling my house, keep showing up, keep sending me this stuff. Maybe because you didn't pay the bill. Well, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't have it. I mean, if I didn't have it, how was I supposed to pay it? Not taking responsibility for anything. A bad habit of what's another bad habit? Y'all give me some. Y'all not just gonna take play from my playbook. Put some out here in the chat. What are some bad habits that y'all have to deal with? Let's see. Let's look in this chat. I think let's see, staying up late and rising early, lack of sleep is a bad habit. Learning to, yes, that's a good one. The habit of staying up late, channel surfing on social media. And then when it's time to do the things that you want to do, you can't do in the morning because you're just tired. So that habit is actually ruining the assignment that heaven really does have for you. Overeating. Yes. That can be. Now, that was funny to me because I used to have that habit. I used to have a bad habit of eating until I was so stuffed that I couldn't move. Like Mike, back in the day, like remember, like the was it the Western Sizzling or the Golden Corral or whatever? They would put them mice on here. I think what was it, Mike? They put them rolls out there in that fried chicken. We would be up in there like 2, 3 hours just to like let the food settle and then go back again, and then we were no good. Just overeating, overeating. Oh, y'all putting some good ones out here. Holding grudge. Now that's a good one. A bad habit of holding grudges for no reason at all. Like it's not even a legitimate grudge, but your go-to move is automatically to just get offended. I I know I won't be doing that again. Grudges are the funniest thing. Because it can be so insignificant, but you can blow that thing up. What they say, making a mountain out of a molehill. Not speaking up. That's another one. Another bad habit. Not speaking up. That used to actually be one of mine. I won't say not speaking up, but not saying truthfully what I wanted to say. Like I would say something, but I would always try to say it in a nice way or people please. But there are people that have that habit of, and I used to have friends like that where when we would be by ourselves, it's like, why didn't you say that while we were there? Oh, I didn't feel like it was appropriate. But you have all of this to say right now, but you couldn't say it then. And that really eats you up. Like that does something internally that only time can tell. Judging others. Judging others. And that is a sneaky bad habit. I used to be so judgmental that I would judge people just like accidentally by rote. It was just a habit. I know she got that. She got that on with that. She came with that person. Oh my goodness. This person's late. This person's this. Oh my gosh. It's a lot of bad Oh, good. Oh, I got the right group. Y'all have just as many bad habits. God is going to do a mighty work in this community. A mighty, mighty work. I am so glad that I'm not. Oh, that one is funny. This one's good. This was one of mine. Leaving late, they're mad. There's traffic. Leaving late and then get mad because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Leaving late and then trying to rush everybody else so that you can be on time. Well, y'all know that I had that habit. I was late every day. Every day. And God was like, this is a habit you have got to break. Heaven is the best habit breaker ever if you allow heaven to do a complete work. But the beautiful part about this forgiveness work, now that you are entering into the space of asking heaven for guidance, the beautiful part about this work is that you ask heaven to forgive all of those areas where you have fallen short of being your best because of the bad habits that you just didn't realize were actually a stumbling block, or as much of a stumbling block as they have served to be. And you will have every day, heaven will give you an opportunity to work out these bad habits. God gives me opportunities multiple times a day to work out that I need help habit. That habit, like, especially, this is so fascinating to me because I work in accounting. So there's a lot of research involved. There's a lot of digging. There's a lot of, backtracking. There's a lot of stuff involved. So heaven has placed me in the right position to break this habit. And heaven has given me so many different scenarios over the past couple days that even today I amazed myself. I was like, did I just do? I did, and I didn't ask anybody. Oh my, look at me. So when I sent the email, I was sending solutions instead of asking for help with the problem. And actually, I have to toot my own horn because one of the things that I sent today was so legitimate that they had to escalate it to like the upper echelon support. I was like, look at that. That was me. When I saw that email come out, I was like, uh-huh. Thank you. Y'all can thank me later. Y'all can thank me later because I figured this out early this morning. I knew this was going to be a problem today, but I'm just like, okay. But heaven will give you the opportunity every day to work out your bad habits. So, because you have given yourself the opportunity to change and grow, heaven is getting ready to do some things. Another habit that's holding on to the past and not hope. You are preaching to the choir right there. The past. This is something when God began to show me this one, oh my gosh. God began to show me like there were years of time that I do not remember because I was so focused on previous events that I could not be in the present moment. So I had lost all of this time because I was so stuck in the past, and that was my habitual move. And this is where we lose time. When God began to break that habit, that was just one of many of the tools that heaven uses to redeem the time. When you learn how to be in the present moment and to release the past and not look too far into the future, heaven is going to assist you in redeeming the time. And that is very powerful. So, y'all have fun with this one tonight. So, as you lay your pretty little heads down on your pillows and you are getting ready to rest and you're getting ready to, close your day, give heaven full permission to bring to your remembrance, to bring to your remembrance all of the habits that are keeping you stuck. So pay attention. Pay attention and be excited about that. So I like to keep these sessions at like 30 minutes because I can really go on. Like we could do this we could do this for like a couple hours, but I'm not going to do that to y'all because y'all need to go and you need to reflect and you need to allow these bad habits to come up, but not only allow those bad habits to come up, but to also forgive yourself for those habits and make a promise to yourself that whenever heaven gives you the opportunity to do the self correction, that you take it and run with it because you're going to have to 51% is where you have to get. Okay. So everyone is starting. I'm gonna give you this little example, then we're gonna go. So let's say these are your bad habits, right? And this is where you want to be. So it's like a seesaw. Okay. And so with every good habit, with every change, with every opportunity, so you're gonna start shifting. So in the beginning, you're not really going to feel anything because it's still heavier on this side. But once it levels off and you get 51% in favor of the changes that you're seeking, you've hit pay dirt. So the momentum is going to build. Most people don't allow themselves the opportunity to get to 51% in favor of the changes that they're making. So if you complain 50% of the time, or you complain 60% of the time, or whatever it is, you have got to be complimentary and excited until you at least get to 51% so you can start to see the difference. So you're not going to go from 0 to 60 overnight, but I promise you, if you don't give up, heaven won't give up. So y'all have fun with this, and I will see y'all again tomorrow night. And I'm going to peek ahead a little bit because I don't have all of these memorized, but tomorrow is a good one. Forgiving your tendency to follow the crowd. So y'all marinate on that one a little bit, and we will go deeper into that. Have a good night. I love you all. Sweet dreams, and I will see y'all tomorrow.